Welcome, guys. I apologize for the boring ass background that I got going on, but that's all that came with the DVD. DVD, Blu-ray of this film, All American Murder. A black screen with white titles, All American Murder. I don't know why. Usually they're a little bit more flashier than that, but it is what it is. This is the first Vinegar Syndrome release that I'm going to be reviewing as a Cellar review or as just generic review. I've done Vinegar Syndrome for 31 Days of Horror. I'm going to be doing some more this year. But as a standalone review, this is the first time. So we'll see how it does. And maybe I'll do more Vinegar Syndrome reviews in the future. But yeah, this one caught my eye as soon as the trailer was released. I'm a pretty big fan of Vinegar Syndrome, especially for how much cult cinema they put out and how much stuff that I've never heard of they put out. I think they put out, like, out of 100 titles, maybe I've heard of 3. So I like that about them. And they always deliver with the cover art. That's one of my favorite things about them. Really thick cases. Obviously the cases are limited, so once they're gone, they're gone. And then you have your standard original cover art. But yeah, getting into the film itself, this one has Christopher Walken, so that caught my eye immediately. This was released in 1991. It feels 80s though, it doesn't really feel like a 90s film. It definitely feels like it's from 1986 or something like that. So, starting off, you got this kid who's played by Chris something? Not Christopher Walken. Charlie Schlatter. Charlie Schlatter plays the lead, and Christopher Walken plays the supporting role, I think. But yeah, he's basically like a troublemaker. He's got a motor mouth on him. He can talk his way out of anything, and he knows how to chat it up. That's for sure. His dad is busting him out of jail, and he's basically a pyro. He's been in jail and kicked out of schools multiple times for enjoying lighting things on fire. And he's on one of his last schools, and he enters this school. He meets this girl. Since he's great with talking, he is able to flirt her up and get her on a date. And she's kind of like this really perfect, like, pretty girl who's a cheerleader. She's great with kids. She's basically like the popular girl. Of course she dates, only jocks. And everybody's like telling him that he stands no chance, but he goes for it anyway. He's banging the dean's wife, which is random. As soon as he gets to the school, he's already banging the dean's wife. I don't know if they knew each other already or if it kind of just flashed forward. This film's problem mostly, and what makes it a cult film especially, is because it's all over the place theme-wise. It doesn't really know what it wants to be, and you can definitely tell that 10 minutes in, you already know that this film is just going to be just bonkers, because it goes from like comedy to drama to a little bit of, there's some slasher elements too, especially as the film goes on. It's a murder mystery. It's a whodunit. It's a lot of things. So he meets this girl and he gets to know her. She ends up being murdered, and then he ends up being framed for the murder, and they obviously think it's him because she was burnt to death, and because he has a history of being a pyro, all eyes point to him. And Christopher Walken, he plays a police officer slash detective, and he's hilarious. He's one of those detectives that he's very, like, not crooked, but he's like rogue kind of thing ish. He likes to take justice the way he likes to, and because it's Christopher Walken, the lines he's given and just his character is absolutely genius. The film is great on its, like, just for his character alone, which I already knew that, like, just for having Chris Walken in it. I knew it was already going to be great. There are some good practical gore effects, very little. This one sticks more to the comedy and the drama, but you know, it's there. There's one in particular, which I'm not going to mention, but there's one kill in particular that you do get some really good gore and really good practical effects. Of course, it's just kind of flashed, but it is what it is. He's persistent as fuck, like I said, when it comes to this girl that he's trying to get with. Before she's murdered, obviously. He's persistent as fuck. She's like, what do you want from me? And he's like, a child. I laughed. She's a religious girl, so she claims. And on a first date, he takes her to a cemetery. I don't know why. It doesn't really play off to anything, but he just takes her there, and then that's where he like tries to kiss her and all that. Kind of random. But yeah, as soon as he's blamed for this this murder of burning this girl to death, Chris Walken comes in and starts to interrogate him, and all eyes point on him. Like I said, there's these two other cops too that work with Chris Walken that I really don't. Chris Walken's name is Decker, so I'm just gonna call him Decker. That work with Decker, and they're so annoying. They're so hard ass. Like they suspect Arthur. Arthur's the lead, played by Charlie Schlatter. They suspect Arthur of being the killer, but they're so hard on him and kind of like want him to be the killer. Like they want to bring him in. They want to make his life hell, and it just gets over the top because they're so friggin' annoying and they just don't give up, and they're just such pricks. They're such pricks. It's so much from their characters. One line Christopher Walken delivers when he's trying to interrogate a robbery earlier. He's on a megaphone and he's like, trust, because he recognizes the guy. He's like, trust me, I never forget a face. He's trying to recognize the girl. Sorry, the woman that's being held hostage, and he's like, I never forget a face, especially one I've sat on. It's good. It's good writing. Jesus. The hairstyles. Basically, everybody has a mullet, especially Charlie Schlatter as Arthur or Artie. Christopher Walken rocks one hell of a mullet. Obviously. There's a story that Christopher Walken keeps talking about where he met this prostitute. She was like 18 years old, and apparently she was into cops. And he keeps telling this story at different times, where he went to meet up with this 18-year-old prostitute who loved cops, and then she asked him to see his badge, and man, I forget what she said. She mentioned a badge, and then she's like, why don't you book me or something, or bust me? Yeah, bust me. Why don't you bust me? I think these are all sexual references, like badge, show me your badge. Why don't you bust me? You know, that's why I laughed. I'm like, I'm trying to like pick up on all that, and it's like, yeah, that's definitely innuendo right there, 100%. So basically, what happens when Christopher Walken enters a picture with Artie is that Artie's given 24 hours for reasons unknown to prove his innocence. So before a warrant is given to him, Christopher Walken gives him a 24-hour chance to prove his innocence, and that's where the whole whodunit mystery comes in, and he's spending the whole film trying to prove his innocence because this mystery killer keeps framing him with all these kills and all this and all these reveals. I won't get to the main reveal. I think the main reveal is kind of stupid, to be honest, but basically every suspect that starts to come up ends up being killed. So then they start focusing on another suspect, and this person that starts to seem guilty ends up dead as well, and it keeps going and going from there until eventually something is revealed. But like I said, the whole themes and mood of the film just keeps switching up, and it always takes you away every time because you're kind of having this comedic moment, and then it'll turn dramatic, and then a joke will be made again, and then you get some horror in there. It's a weird film, and I can see why it didn't take off, but I can also see why it's a cult classic because um, there's a lot of fun to be had. The soundtrack is awesome. The soundtrack is pure 80s. It has this theme song in it, just like the Breakfast Club did with the "Don't you forget about me." It has this wicked ass rock song that's kind of in the vein of that, and it plays at the beginning of the film and or in the main credits, and then it plays at the end of the film, and it plays throughout the film, and it has a bunch of other like catchy 80s songs that really go with the theme. Even though, like I said, this film was made in '91 and released in '91, still feels 80s to me. So yeah, this girl whose name is Tally, this perfect angel of a girl. There's a lot of dirt on her that starts to be revealed and found as this guy is searching for all these clues, and he starts to meet all these people that she's screwed over, and she ends up not being the person that everybody thought she was. She actually ends up being pretty fucked up, to be honest. There's a lot of symbolism in this film. A lot of symbolism with fire because of him being a pyro. Symbolism with snakes. There's a lot of symbolism with snakes. He has a snake tattoo. He loves snakes. He had a pet snake which he burnt in a fire back when. The killer sometimes uses in one kill a snake to coil around a woman's neck to kill her. There's definitely a snake theme going on, and the snake theme keeps repeating often. The characters are nice, all of them. They're fun to. They keep your attention. They don't get boring. There's this girl named Wendy, which already develops an interest in and like a friendship with. That kind of blossoms into something else. She's cool. I actually like her a lot better than Tally, and I was even from the beginning did. And Christopher Walken is Christopher Walken. There's nothing to be said about Christopher Walken that everybody doesn't already know. Apparently, I saw some of the special features, and Charlie Schlauter working with Christopher Walken. He said it was a blast because Christopher Walken was Christopher Walken. He's like, I think he said something like, I don't have big teeth, but they're strong, or something. I'm butchering my Christopher Walken accent. Some people can nail it, but I'm not one of them. So yeah, Tally just ends up being somebody completely different than she was at the beginning of the film. So like from like research and things that he finds out, things that Artie finds out, and the killer's revealed at the end. Like I said, I think it's a silly reveal, but it is what it is, and it's a product of its time. It's the definition of a cult film, and I would recommend it. I on Letterboxd gave it a 2 out of 5 stars, and it'd be like low 40s, so like maybe I'd probably give it like actually a 44, which is just under a 45, which would put it at a 2.5 stars. But I think I would like put it right at a 44, so it would be like a very high 2 out of 5, almost 2.5 out of 5. But yeah, it's a sweet film. It's entertaining. The lead's entertaining. Like I said, he's so witty. He always can handle himself in any situation. He's one of those guys. You know those guys that can handle themselves in any situation? Well, that's him. Even at the beginning in jail, he could handle himself. He makes one of the prison mates a friggin' dinosaur out of oatmeal because the oatmeal's so thick that you can literally make puppets out of the fucking food. He makes a dinosaur and gives it to the fucking inmate. It's ridiculous. The film starts with the guy making a dinosaur out of oatmeal. Crazy. Um, and when it's funny, it's funny. When it's dramatic, it's dramatic. And when Christopher Walken is on screen, it's it's amazing. There's an interrogation scene with Christopher Walken and Artie. That's really entertaining. Their banter, I mean. And yeah, I think I covered everything here. The one scene where Tally is burnt to death, it's I mean the practical effects that they did on that too, it's pretty gruesome. Like the burnt skeleton, um, that it looked pretty harsh, to say the least. They only show the aftermath of it, but um, other than the person being on fire, but and yeah, that's about it. So some people call this a slasher film. I think it's too little in the slasher to be a slasher film. Excuse me. I think it's more of like a teen. It's a teen comedy drama. It's like a John Hughes movie but with slasher elements. Does that make sense? It's actually, yeah, like it's pretty much a John Hughes movie with slasher elements. That's what I kind of would compare it to. Like it's especially with the music, like it's very John Hughes-esque. And I guess John Hughes did a lot of that, like with blending comedy and drama and kind of bouncing back and forth with it. And if you threw some, sprinkles of horror in there, then yeah, you would have All American Murder. It's pretty unique. So we'll see how this first Vinegar Syndrome review goes. Vinegar Syndrome is a wicked company. If it goes well, I'll keep doing Vinegar Syndrome reviews because I got a shit ton. Did them for 31 Days of Horror, like I said, and I will be doing more of those because they do release a lot of horror. And yeah, so we'll see how this one goes, and we will go from there. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my reviews. It's the morning, so I'm enjoying my coffee. And watch my other videos, subscribe, and comments. Let me know what you think. I will be back for more, so stay tuned and cheers.